Good evening, friends. Today we will be discussing an interesting topic in criminal law, especially in the matters of bodily offenses. The weapon of an offense is an important element. Normally, we have guns or knives or sticks, etc., as weapons of offense. Mostly, they are inanimate objects. But today we will see a special case. In today's case, the weapon of offense is a live object, and that is a poisonous snake. We will deal with the following issues in this lecture or law snippet today. First, snake as a weapon of offense, snake handler as an expert witness, forensic and behavior analysis of the snake, and some principles of sentencing. Okay. So the facts of this case are simple. Suraj and Uttara were married to each other. Suresh worked in a bank. Uttara belonged to a well-off family. She was having some learning disabilities. During marriage, Suraj got handsome amount of dowry. They were blessed with a child also. But since 2019, Suraj started planning to kill his wife. He surfed internet extensively on snakes and snake venoms. He himself was also good in handling snakes. He bought a viper from a snake charmer and left the snake in the bed where his wife was sleeping. Viper bit Uttara and she was hospitalized for 52 days. After that, she stayed in her parents' house. After some time, Suraj bought a cobra, kept it in a plastic jar for 7 days without food. He went to his in-laws' house. On one night, he gave Uttara a glass of juice and he added certain sedatives like cetirizine tablets. When she felt asleep, he put the snake on her bed. But the snake did not bite her. So he held the snake by its hood and facilitated a bite on Uttara's body. In the process, the cobra bit twice and Uttara died. So it is a case of inducing poison in a human body with the intention of killing. There is a landmark case, Anantha Chintaram Lagu versus State of Bombay. It provides the test for causing death by poisoning. In a case of death by poisoning, 3 things need to be identified. First, death is caused by poisoning. Secondly, accused held the poison in his possession. And thirdly, accused had the opportunity to administer the poison. This Lagu test can be applied in this case. Death was caused by snake bite. The fang marks on the body of the deceased prove that the death was caused due to snake bite. Secondly, the accused was in possession of the snake. He had purchased the snake from a snake charmer. He had kept the snake in a jar which was recovered by police. And thirdly, we need to see whether the accused had administered the venom. This is the trickiest part. On close examination, police found there was something unusual in both the fang marks. One was wider than the other. It means the snake was put in a difficult situation so that it was forced to bite. It was conclusively established that the accused forced the snake to bite the deceased. Hence, Lagu test was satisfied. So the court established by using snake as a weapon of offense, the accused administered poison and caused death. Next important issue is about expert witness. Can a snake handler be an expert witness? In this case, the prosecution took the expert testimony of a famous snake handler who had a lot of experience in handling poisonous snakes and was bitten by snakes many times earlier. So can he be an expert witness? So let's look at this particular case law. State of HP versus Jailal and others says a person is an expert when he has three things. First, he has made a special duty of the subject, acquired a special experience therein. He is skilled and has adequate knowledge of the subject. The judgment says the duties of an expert witness are: first, to furnish necessary scientific criteria for testing the accuracy of the conclusion. Second, the scientific opinion evidence, if intelligible, convincing, and tested, becomes a factor for consideration along with the other evidence. The credibility of such a witness depends on the reasons stated in support of his conclusions. In the present case, the snake handler has 30 years of experience in handling snakes. He has suffered snake bites and understands how snake bites and what is the reaction of snake after or before bite. He is a subject matter expert in this area. He is widely acclaimed in media because of his extensive experience in snake handling. He is well conversant in the matters about snakes. He understands their habitat and also their behavior. Hence, court considered him as an expert witness. Normally, expert witnesses are having some demonstrable expertise like a degree in medicine or engineering or any discipline. But in this case, the court considered the snake handler as an expert witness because of his experience. In this case, the court made a forensic and behavior analysis of the snake. The forensic analysis stated that snake was found starving. It was established from the post-mortem of the snake. There was injury to the snake. The police also held DNA analysis of the snake to establish the snake DNA sample from the bite area is an actual match of the DNA of the snake. The court also considered the behavioral analysis of the snake. Deceased was on first floor when she was bitten by a viper. But vipers don't climb heights. Hence, behavioral analysis of viper was a relevant factor. Similarly, cobras don't bite without being threatened. A sleeping person cannot threaten a snake. Hence, it is difficult to assume that snake bit twice without provocation. Natural activity time of snake is not in the night. Hence, snake bite at night time is doubtful. Snake venom causes intense pain. A sleeping person will definitely wake up. But as the deceased did not wake up, it means she was sedated. Bite marks were inconsistent. One fang span was wider than the other. Court took cognizance of all these facts. Now a small discussion on sentencing process. In this case, the accused was given 2 life sentences. So, which state sentence will run? Sentences are effected either consecutively or concurrently. Consecutively means one after another. Concurrently means together. The court in Muthura Malingam versus State held that life imprisonment shall run concurrently. In case a term sentence is also imposed along with imprisonment for life, the court can order the term sentence to run first. So when 2 life sentences are imposed, it means both will run concurrently. This is also a novel case. This is a new strand of criminal jurisprudence. I strongly recommend to read the judgment. This is all for today's law snippets. We will meet again in the next series of law snippets and legal updates.